Okay, brand new movie on Netflix this week. Last week, actually. The Devil All the Time. Just watched it, and I have quite a few thoughts on this movie. Okay, for one, the performances all around are pretty much top-notch. They're pretty stellar. There's a lot of big-name celebrities and actors in this movie. You probably know them. I'm not gonna possibly list all of them in this video, but there are a few that do stand out. They're really good. I mean, Robert Pattinson for one. A lot of people were kind of hyping this up as being Robert Pattinson's new movie, but right off the rip, he's not really in this movie a lot. He's kind of a side character to this. This movie is interesting. It's a drama, so if you don't really like kind of drama focused movies with little action and all that kind of stuff, it's all character driven, this probably isn't for you. But like me, you're a film freak, so you want to watch anything that's out. The characters in this movie are what makes it interesting, like the different characters and the way they come together. That's the whole point of this movie. All these characters are kind of converging in at a certain point, I guess. That's the plot. It's just a series of events that happens with these series of characters, and they're somehow interconnected. They all get interconnected at some point. I guess that's the best way of explaining this. The characters, they're pretty interesting. I think the most standout of all these character stories is probably the one about the serial killers. I found it just really fascinating, but the stuff they do is incredibly messed up. This movie is full of messed up stuff. But I just found that angle on these two serial killers, how they met, how they come together and do their serial killings. It's fascinating to me in a weird, twisted way. Kind of like how Zodiac was fascinating to me. I think Zodiac's one of David Fincher's best movies, by the way, but I'm going off topic. That's why I found these characters kind of interesting. I wish they did dive into like the psyche of these characters more, the two serial killers, but it's not their movie. They're just kind of like a side plot. And all the other characters, they've got interesting enough stories, I suppose. Robert Pattinson's character's story is, like I say, it's not a lot. There's not a lot of him in this movie, but what little screen time he does have, it just, wow, it's incredible. He's just a great actor. Robert Pattinson, man. At first I thought his southern accent would be a bit weird, but the second he spoke, I was like, okay, I buy it. I buy that you're this big douchebag. You're this evil, slimy, greasy preacher douchebag. I don't like you, but great acting. There's some parts of this movie that feel a bit too overdramatic. It kind of played off as unintentionally hilarious. Maybe it was supposed to be hilarious. I wouldn't know. It was just kind of funny to me. I guess complaints for this movie, it's hard to say. None of these characters are fleshed out, and that's my biggest problem. A lot of these characters, good performances, interesting stories, but I don't connect with any of them. Even, okay, the closest one was probably Arvin and his family, Tom Holland's character. That angle, because it is pushed to the forefront of the movie, you're supposed to kind of connect with him. I just wished his character was a bit more fleshed out, and that's the problem with a movie of this scale with so many characters in it. You're not able to flesh out every single character, or maybe it just wasn't written as effectively and efficiently. I didn't find myself really connecting with this character. I did understand where he was coming from to some extent, but his character just didn't have that emotional draw. Some of the moments of impact that you feel would have had more impact, they just didn't have the impact. I've said impact too many times in a sense. Let me try to rephrase that. The moments in this movie where it kind of wants you to feel, it just doesn't hit as hard as it should have. I also didn't really like Sebastian Stan's character. I just did not click with his character at all. I didn't know what was going on. His character just was there. And Sebastian Stan, really good in this movie, but his arc, his whole character story, I didn't care for it at all. So there you go. That's it. I mean, the characters are good. The acting is good. The story's really interesting. Messed up stuff, You bet your ass. And there's a lot of this Christianity garbage. People in this movie are just garbage. You're horrible, evil people. I can't believe they actually go to church. I mean, I'm a good Christian boy myself, but people are so messed up in this movie. It's crazy. There's a lot of messed up stuff. If you are weak-hearted, probably don't watch this one. It's not. But as for problem, I guess that's pretty much it for problems. I just feel like the characters could have used a bit more fleshing out. But overall, I wouldn't say I was bored. I thought the number one problem I would have with this movie was it being a bit dull. It could have been kind of a drag. It could have been dull, but the pacing was pretty much on point. Editing is good, keeps the pace going. It's shot well. It looks nice. So I guess it's pretty compelling. It's compelling enough, and I was invested in this movie enough. I don't think it's Netflix's best drama. There are better dramas on Netflix if you are into that. So yeah, it's compelling enough. So if you do want to give it a watch, I would say The Devil All the Time is probably worth watching later on. Okay. But if you have to watch a drama right now, I guess this is the new hot thing. Anyway, that was my thoughts on the movie The Devil All the Time. It was an interesting movie. It was great acting, good character. What am I talking about? They're all awful characters. Most of them anyway. They're just garbage humans, but good acting. And if you want to see some pretty top-notch performances in the movie this year, you can watch this one, or just wait for the Oscar bait movies to come out later this year, if they are even coming out because of this stupid-ass pandemic. But there you go. I'm gonna get some breakfast.